He handed her a stack of papers. Sabrina flipped through them. The first few were finger paintings of a family. There was a mother and a father holding a baby, a kitten, a grandmother, and a ferocious-looking dog. As Sabrina flipped through them, she found that the colors the girl used were less and less varied. The paintings got darker and darker until eventually they were entirely black and red. Looking at them made Sabrina queasy. That's her family, Uncle Jake said. There's dozens more. She's a little obsessed, Sabrina muttered. No, she's a lot obsessed. She's never gotten over her loss. But it happened hundreds of years ago. Her grandmother is dead. Her mom and dad disappeared. Not in her mind, Uncle Jake said. I think she's collecting a new family to replace the one she lost. Sabrina felt her blood stop running in her veins. She's got mom and dad, and when I confronted her, she said something about having a baby brother. Exactly, Uncle Jake said, pointing to the mother, father, and baby in the drawings. She said something else, Sabrina went on. She said, tell Grandma the puppy I'll see them soon. Then we can all play house. She needs them too. And who do we know around here who has a grandma with a dog? Sabrina nearly cried out, Granny Rhoda! Uncle Jake took the paintings and put them back into the file. It doesn't tell us where Red Riding Hood may have gone, but at least we know where she's headed. We're all going to have to be prepared to defend your grandmother if that girl and her freaky pet show up. I don't know what kind of help I'm going to be, Sabrina said as she gestured to her broken arm. Oh, I'll fix that, Uncle Jake said, and rushing into the living room and returning with his overcoat. He sat back down and started rifling through its pockets. Where did I put it? He mumbled to himself. He took a bottle out of his coat. Apparently, it wasn't what he was looking for, and he tossed it outside. Sabrina peered down at it. The label said, Evil Eye Drops. A small tube labeled Cuss Be Gone, and a tub of cream called a Witch Hazel Repellent were also rejected. Here it is, Uncle Jake said, finally putting out a small round tin and handing it to Sabrina. She glanced at the label. Satin Surgeon's Salve, now with a lemony fresh scent. What's Satin Surgeon's Salve? Sabrina asked as she popped the lid off. Inside was an icky black ointment that smelled like backed up sewage and made her gag. You've never heard of this stuff? Uncle Jake said as if exasperated. I can't believe Henry didn't even teach you the basics. Andrew Lang wrote about this in the Olive Berry book. The story is about a princess who saved the life of the man she loved. The rumor is she got the salve from Cupid himself. What's in the stuff? Sabrina said as she pinched her nose. You don't want to know, Uncle Jake told the tin. Uncle Jake took the tin and dipped his fingers into the rancid glop, which he rubbed over Sabrina's hand. The vile stuff felt as bad as it smelled. Her head started spinning and an odd sensation ran up and down her arm, as if someone had poured an icy cold glass of water into her cast. After a few seconds, the tingling stopped. Unfortunately, the smell remained. Feel better? Uncle Jake said. Sabrina wasn't sure. The constant pain in her arm was gone. She tried to remove her fingers and found they wriggled easily. Uncle Jake rushed into the kitchen, opened a drawer and rummaged through it, then ran back to Sabrina. In his hand was a pair of heavy kitchen scissors. The proof is in the pudding, he said, and he started cutting her plastic cast off. He removed it and tossed it to the floor. Give that arm a try. Sabrina turned her arm slowly. She quickly realized she could move it in any direction she wanted. It felt fine. In fact, it felt better than it ever had. It worked, she cried. Of course it worked. It's magic. I just can't understand why my mother wouldn't have done this for you already. Mira's got rooms of this stuff. Haven't you and your sister come across the pharmacy in the Hall of Wonders yet? I'm not allowed in the Hall of Wonders, Sabrina sighed. You're kidding. No, I'm not. I was swiping Granny's keys and making copies without her permission. I've been banned. Wait, you don't have your own set of keys? Uncle Jake exclaimed. How do you and Daphne lie about all the stuff inside? We don't. Granny says we're not ready. Not ready? You're practically over the hill. Come on. Uncle Jake grabbed her arm with one hand and his overcoat with the other and rushed up the steps. Once they got to the landing, they stopped at the door to Mira's room, which Granny Rhoda always kept locked. Uncle Jake searched his pockets and quickly found a set of keys as large and impressive as the old woman's. I don't know about this, Sabrina whispered as he unlocked the door. She really doesn't want me in there. When she found out what I had done, she went ballistic. Yeah, she does that a lot, Uncle Jake said as he opened the door. The two stepped inside and closed the door behind them. Just then, a blinding bolt of lightning struck inches from their feet, leaving a black smoldering spot on the hardwood floor. Who dares invade my sanctuary? A horrible voice bellowed. Sabrina jumped back. A menacing face appeared in the mirror and hanging on the opposite wall. It was filled with anger and power, and a thunderstorm raged behind it. That was a little close, don't you think? Sabrina complained, walking right up to the mirror. Starfish, I'm so sorry, the face said, softening. I thought I was being attacked by a pirate. Hang on for a second. The face vanished, and when it came back, it was wearing a pair of glasses with small tortoiseshell frames. Oh, I am being attacked by a pirate, Mira said, eyeing the girl's black marker goatee and mustache closely. Would it be safe to say that Puck had something to do with this particular accessory? Sabrina nodded. He's just delightful, isn't he? Mira replied sarcastically. Mira? Jake said. Mira turned and focused his eyes on Uncle Jake. A huge grin appeared on his face. Well, look what the cat dragged in, he cried. Jake rushed forward and did something most people would find impossible. He stepped into the reflection and vanished. Sabrina wasn't surprised in the least, though. After all, the mirror was more than just a reflective surface. It was also a doorway, and she followed her uncle through it. On the other side was an enormous barrel-vaulted hallway that reminded her of Grand Central Station in New York City. The ceiling was held up by massive marble columns. Rows and rows of arched doorways lined both walls. Each led to different rooms, all packed with magical and otherworldly items. Granny called it the world's largest walk-in closet. The man known as Mirror called it the Hall of Wonders, and it was where he lived. Jake hugged the little man tightly, causing him to drop a small book he was carrying. It's good to see you, Mirror. It's good to be seen, Mirror said as he squirmed to break from the younger man's embrace. You're looking great, Uncle Jake said, finally releasing him. Well, I do what I can. I drink a lot of water, and of course my pilot's instructor has really helped. Sabrina leaned down and picked up the man's book. It was a paperback collection of word games like crosswords and jumbles. What's this? She asked. Oh, Rhoda picked it up for me at the supermarket. She said she thought it might help pass the time. I could just kill her. I'm addicted to it now. Next time you see her, tell her to get me some more of them, Mirror said, turning his attention back to Uncle Jake. What's with the family reunion, Jakey? Jabberwocky stuff, the younger man said gravely. Yes, I heard it was back, Mirror said, turning to Sabrina. That thing has been running loose for far too long. Unfortunately, there's nothing in any of these rooms that can stop it. Oh, I knew that, Uncle Jake sniffed. No, the reason we're here is I've got a niece in desperate need of a little experience with magic stuff. I smell trouble, Mirror warned. I think that's the salve, Sabrina replied. The noxious medicine was still making her feel nauseated. Mirror, don't worry, Uncle Jake said, flashing his quirky grin. He handed the little man his huge set of keys. Let's start with some hits. As you wish, Mirror replied. He turned and led them down the hallway, lining the walls with doors of all shapes and sizes. Some were made of metal, others wood, and one looked as if it were made of ice. Each door had a little bronze plaque that told what was behind it. Poison spinning wheels, tree sprites, crystal balls, love potions, all the king's horses, right next to all the king's men. The doors went on and on down the hall, and it seemed to go on forever. Sabrina wondered if anyone had ever walked to the end, or even if there was an end. Rhoda would not be pleased, Miro commented as he escorted them down the hall. Mom is just being stubborn. The girls need to know what's in these rooms. Dad made sure that Hank and I knew how to use this stuff, and it got us out of a lot of close calls. It also got you into a lot of close calls, as I remember it, Miro said. Uncle Jake ignored the comment and turned to Sabrina. Your dad and I spent hours in here every day, learning how the wands worked, testing out the magic shoes, learning how to fight with the swords and armor, and learning to use the translation spells so we could speak with birds, fish, and forest animals. These rooms are filled with useful stuff. Miro stopped at the door with a plaque that read, hats, helmets, beanies, etc. He found the key for the lock and opened the door. He stepped inside and soon returned with a metal helmet that had small antlers mounted on each side. Good choice, Uncle Jake said. The Midas crown. What does it do? Sabrina asked as her uncle placed it on her head. It makes you strong. Try to pick me up, Uncle Jake said. But you're 3 times my size. Try it. Sabrina reached over and grabbed her uncle by the shirt and lifted with all her strength. It was more than she needed. Uncle Jake went flying into the air and plummeted back into Sabrina's arms. His landing was awkward, but he wasn't hurt. Oh man, am I going to have fun with this? Sabrina cried as she felt the power of the helmet course through her limbs. Sabrina, wait for me in the hall, a voice said behind them. Sabrina turned and saw Granny Rhoda. The old woman's face was red with anger. Daphne stood next to her with sleepy eyes and a confused expression. Busted, Uncle Jake whispered. I want everyone out of here right this instant, Granny Rhoda demanded, fixing her eyes on Sabrina, showing the girl how disappointed she was. Hey, your arm is healed, Daphne said. I suppose you used magic, Granny said. It was silly to have her in pain, Uncle Jake said. Why wait 3 months when it could be perfectly fine today? And what is the cost of that, Jacob? I don't understand the question. There's a cost with magic. There's always a cost. There's no cost. Her arm is healed, Uncle Jake said defensively. The magic asks for nothing in return. The magic most certainly asks for something. It asks for experience. Sabrina broke her arm doing something I told her not to do. The healing is her experience in learning about the consequences of the choices she makes. Sure, it is easier to wave a wand or rub some magic medicine over our injuries. It's always easier. But what do we learn? How will Sabrina know her limitations? Mom, you talk as if Sabrina and Daphne were normal little girls, that Jacob replied. But they are not. They are Grimms, and their lives are going to be difficult. Let the rest of their children learn about limitations. They don't have a Jabberwocky and a certifiable nutcase like Red Riding Hood chasing their family. The girls have to learn to fight. If they knew how to use some of the stuff you have locked up in here, Sabrina might not have gotten hurt in the first place. They need to be trained like Hank and I were. Dad had us exploring these rooms when we were 5 years old, and your father was wrong, Granny Rhoda said. The girls will explore the men's rooms when I say they are ready. Until then, the best lesson I can teach them is that magic always has a price. That's ridiculous, her son complained. Is it, Jake? Is it still so hard to see after everything that has happened? Your father is dead because... Granny Rhoda stopped in mid-sentence, and there was a lot. It seems like this is the end of this video. I'll send more later. Goodbye.